Hello, this is Martin Anderson, designer of the game The Fetterman Fight, or 100 in the Hands. This video is on the historical background of the fight, which I suspect is not well known. The game itself is about the fight. The battle was an important event in the history of the American West. The battle happened on December 21st, 1866, near what is now Sheridan, Wyoming. The main historical works on the fight are D. Brown's 1862, The Fetterman Massacre, and more recent work by John Monette in Where His 100 Soldiers Were Killed and his eyewitness to the Fetterman Fight, Indian Views, which gives the Native American perspective. The battle was part of a larger conflict known as Red Cloud's War. This is Red Cloud. After the Civil War, people began moving west again. Some took the Bozeman Trail, a new trail north of the Oregon Trail that went through Montana to Oregon. You can read about the Bozeman in Dorothy Johnson's The Bloody Bozeman. Unfortunately, the Bozeman went straight through Lakota, also known as Sioux territory, and they began to harass settlers on the trail. The Lakota consisted of several tribes, the main ones being the Oglala, the Minneconjou, the Brule, and the Hunkpapa. After some debate, the U.S. government decided to protect settlers on the trail. In 1866, they built Forts Reno, Phil Kearny, and C.F. Smith for that purpose. By 1866, they were complete. This started the war. Here's a rough map of the area. Fort Reno is to the south. Fort Phil Kearny is in the center. And Fort C.F. Smith is to the north. The Bozeman Trail runs into Montana. Fort Phil Kearny was commanded by Colonel Carrington, who had a garrison of companies of the 18th Infantry Regiment, one company from the 2nd Cavalry Regiment. The Lakota began raiding timber cutting parties from the fort. Patrols were sent out to drive off the raiding parties. Some small skirmishes resulted. The Lakota conceived of ambushing one of these forces. In December, the Lakota began using their raiding parties as decoys, hoping to draw a patrol into an ambush. On December 20th, Pipe, a Lakota dreamer, had a vision of 100 soldiers falling into his hands. The next day, a decoy party led by the young Crazy Horse raided a timber cutting party. Inside the fort, a relief force led by Captain Fetterman was assembled. Carrington ordered him to drive off the raiding party, but not to go beyond Lodge Trail Ridge. Two other officers, Lieutenant Grumman and Captain Brown, two civilians who wanted to try out their new repeating rifles, 49 infantry and 27 cavalry, then followed Fetterman to their deaths. Fetterman disobeyed orders and went beyond Lodge Trail Ridge into the Pino Creek Valley in pursuit of the decoy party. We can see here roughly where the decoy party in red and Fetterman in blue went. Out past Lodge Trail Ridge and into the Pino Creek Valley. There, about 1,500 Sioux, Cheyenne, and Arapaho warriors waited in ambush. About 30 minutes later, after hearing firing in the distance, Captain Tenek went out from the fort with 75 men to find out what had happened. On reaching the head of the Bozeman Trail, Tenek saw that Fetterman's force had been annihilated. The effect of the battle was tremendous. In April 1868, the U.S. government decided to abandon the Bozeman Trail and gave up Forts C.F. Smith, Phil Kearny, and Reno. The Cheyenne burned Fort Kearny to the ground. The Lakota had bought nearly 10 more years to continue their traditional way of life until Custer in 1876. Unlike the Custer fight, which was unplanned, the Fetterman fight resulted from a well-executed Lakota plan. You can Google the Fetterman fight, Red Cloud's War, the Hayfield fight, the Bozeman Trail, and the 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty to learn more. You can visit the site in person or by Google Maps in Wyoming off Highway 90. Take the Peony Creek exit.